Hello, friends. You are all welcome to join me live in this edition of Morning Brew. And as you would have noticed, that the topic of our discussion today is the value of the quality data. We already know that the data is very valuable, but in this program, we will discuss more about the quality of the data and why it is relevant in today's context and what has changed from past decade and this decade, and from this decade onwards the value of data will keep increasing, so much so that it will probably cross the cost of petroleum. And as you know that the petroleum is the biggest shakers and movers when it comes to global trade, and that place will be taken over by data in coming times. So let us discuss about what is data. First of all, data is the collection of information which helps you decide your course of action. That is the proper definition of data that I would like to put forth. Data can be your book, your finance can be your data, what it offers. And I think keeping books is okay, but what this data also tells you. So there is a word called metadata. Metadata is data about data. So your data is not merely what is written on the book, on the pages of your diary, or customer orders. It also tells you a lot of other things about the nature of the client, nature of the transaction, timing, all those kind of things. And that is why the data of today's era is become very, very important, where the metadata and data are going hand in hand. So first of all, as a company, you must have a means to collect the data, and then as a company, as an individual, you must have opportunity to analyze the data which is collected. So I think this is something which I will like to classify data, which is, you should be able to reuse the data in many forms. And when you want to reuse the data in many forms, then the question of data quality becomes very important. And if the data which you are putting forward as a database of your company, for example, you could have a finance data, you could have client data, you could also have email addresses and all that. But if the quality of your data which you are maintaining is not good, then the data will not be useful for you. So if you have just taken the data as a record, then it will help you do some post facto analysis. But if you have not maintained the quality of the data, then it will not help you analyze. And that is why, this is very important point, where the quality of the data is very expensive. Maintaining quality. When I say maintaining quality of the data, it's basically refreshing the data, improving the entries which are there in the book. For example, if you have a client data, then a client may have moved to some other company, so your data must be simultaneously updated, so that you have the current information of your customer. So things like that. And to do all of these things, it will cost a lot of revenue. It costs, you need to have specialized people to do these activities, or you have to deploy some sort of a AI engine to continuously refreshing the data, and thus improving the quality of your data. So I think most companies now have realized this, and they are focused entirely on data, because the future of your company will be entirely dependent on the type of data you are having. It will help you make the right decisions at the right time, and also for future planning. And that is why, if you don't have these features like right decision at the right time and decision for the future, then your company is destined to doom after a couple of years. So that is why the quality of your data is very, very important. And by the way, friends, we are live right now across all social media platforms. If you have a suggestion or comment, it will get displayed right on the screen in front of me, and I will take it up immediately. And that is why most of the smart CEOs are now focused on data, and most of the organizations which are headed by the smart CEOs have changed gear and they have become data driven organization, not the product driven organization. Gone are the days where product quality is definitely important. You have to produce a quality product from your company, or the services must be very top notch services. But uh, the difference between last 10 years and this decade is that you will focus more on the data which you are collecting. Now the data could be rudimentary data, or it could be quality data. For example, I'm making this video. My video, if it is not good, and if my background is not good, my voice is not good, then obviously people will not watch it. So I'm considering the data which I'm producing is a content data, and it has to be good quality, and the quality should be as good as that even after 5 years, if somebody watch, they don't feel out of the place. So similarly, most of the organizations are now data driven because that helps them decide their future, that helps them decide the future course of actions that they want to take for their company. Also, if they have to change gears, they have to diversify into some other direction after a couple of years, you just can't change gear by a knee jerk reaction. It has to be a planned manner. You have to hire a new team, you need to invest in a new new factory or something like that. That will all come out of the data driven. The market intelligence and your customers will guide your future course of action. So I think the point that I'm trying to make here is that most of the organizations and smart CEOs are now taking their decisions which are driven by the data that they have. And I think it's logical that the data also creates opportunity. The information that you have will create opportunities for you today, and in short term, next 3 months, 6 months, and in long term, 1 year to 2 years, maybe up to 5 years, depending on the type of product and services you're offering. So things like that. So data is very important. I have to make this point very, very clear that if you are watching this program, and if you are the leader or a CEO, you must get focused on collecting the right information and maintaining it, and also refreshing it, because that data will be your gold mine of future. That will give you more opportunities, and once you have the data, you can put more analytical engines on the same data to derive something which you want to do in next 3 months, 6 months, and so on. But if you don't have the data, then you will be totally clueless after 6 months, and then everything will be left on luck, which is not a good thing to happen. So that is why data creates opportunity, and this has become a specialized field. And if you open the internet and you open any of the job sites, the highest number of opportunities today are available are basically in the area of data science. So what is data science? Data science is analyzing the data that a company has. So this has become a specialized skills where there are new opportunities also for the professionals to join these companies and help them steer the company in the right direction. And these are very, very highly specialized, highly paid jobs. And if you have been able to do that, it will give you the power to run your business and steer that business in the right direction. You will have power to employ a big team. You will have power to have a lot of clientele in the market. You will have power of all sorts of power. You will have an influence on the mass appeal. If you will have a forex business running into multi-million, multi-billion type of businesses crossing over the borders of your own native country. So the data gives you immense power as a CEO. And there are a lot of CEOs who used to do a lot of micromanagement. For example, they reach the office on time, they take a round on their in their office to make sure that they keep a watch on the employees. If they are running a factory, then they were keeping the watch on the factory. I think the smart CEOs are not doing that anymore. They think that if they have the analytics with them, they will be able to make the right decision. So gone are the days of doing any micromanagement. In fact, that activity is no longer relevant for running your business. What is relevant is that you have to think 6 months ahead, and the data analytics that your company has invested in will help you do that. It will give you power to make the right decision. And let's talk about the recent uh, successes that the mankind has seen. Let's not go too far. I think we are now going through the pandemic, and usually what happens is when the vaccinations are developed, uh, they are based on a lot of hit and trial, and a lot of data is collected in terms of what type of human will react to these vaccines. And vaccine before they are released in the market, there used to be at least 10 to 15 years of trial, because the scientists or the biologists who are developing these vaccines will try in multiple countries and multiple type of genomes of humans to say that we have tried on different types of humans and it works on majority of them. Once they have that kind of information, then they feel safe to launch in the market. However, when COVID-19 hit the globe, the vaccine was out in less than a year. How did that happen? I think that's a question that must be there in your mind. That happened because of the previous data of all the vaccinations that mankind had kept since 1950s, or probably from 1940s. So all the data was available to the current day scientists in 2020 and 2021. They used that data for creating different models. They had the virus genome. They knew that if they have to eradicate this virus, what kind of vaccine they would need, and they used various AI models to basically find out what is the sequence of vaccine they would need. And once they were able to do that using AI models, then they generated the vaccine, and then there was no need to do a lot of trials for 10 years or 15 years. With a short trial period of 3 to 6 months, the vaccines from various organizations came out in the market, and that saved millions of people's life. And then the concept of first vaccination, second vaccination, the booster vaccination, etc. came. This development happened very rapidly. Imagine a situation if the pandemic hit 50 years back, then a lot of people would have died because there was no cure available for next 10 to 15 years. So this is the magic that data has provided. And there were a lot of statistical data also, which the biologists and the scientists use in order to space the time duration between the various doses of the vaccine. So all kinds of data was used in order to develop the vaccine for COVID-19 complications. Let us look at the next large data utilization which is happening today. The space discoveries. We have been keeping pictures of the space for last at least 100 years, and all those pictures are digitized, and those pictures are basically available for scientists to analyze. And to see changes, it requires huge number of physical time given by either humans or by AI to identify and cross-check these pictures from various timelines that we have. Even though we are sending these satellites and these telescopes out in the orbit, and James Webb is already out there, it will continue to send a ton of data which would require a lot of analysis in order to announce the discoveries. So all that is now lying as a data. And even today, if you go back and analyze last 15-year data, you may come up with some discoveries, because and even older data. So if you analyze the new data with the old data, there could be some new discoveries. You can probably find out the different planets, or you can actually locate the asteroids which are dangerous for us, and so on and so forth. So this data analytics and space exploration is very, very important. So all these different types of telescopes, radio telescopes, and all these different types of telescopes keep sending their data back to the data banks, and then they are analyzed by either humans or by AI. And now we have basically taken the next step. The data has become so large that it is impossible for humans to explore the data. So the lot of AI is being used to analyze data. AI is being used today in social media. AI is used in e-commerce. It is also used in identifying the people who have not paid tax, etc., and their pattern, anti-money laundering, law enforcement. So to check what kind of patterns is coming out while people are doing a lot of transactions from country to country, and how terrorist funding is happening. So a lot of these AI based systems are analyzing data every minute and every second nowadays. And because of that, there is a new opportunity for technical people, which is in the area of machine learning. So machine learning is that something which captures the pattern in the data. And when we say machine learning, as the name is very descriptive, the software which is running this analysis learns the pattern, and then you don't have to teach the machine. So it is automatically picking up these patterns and giving the predictions. And to create these systems, you need specialized skills, the data scientist and machine learning skills, to come up with the advanced AI of future. So I think these are also the new areas which are emerging because of the data analysis that we have to do. Whichever company you are a small company or a large company, it has become very important to analyze the data. Your company is collecting various type of data. Even people who are visiting your organization is a type of data which you're collecting. So therefore, this is very, very important. And once you have this system, guarding of data is also becoming very critical, and that is why people are talking about cyber security, and there is whole technique to safeguard your passwords and to safeguard your identity on the internet, because it can have a lot of repercussions. Simple thing, the nowadays the e-commerce is the norm. Nobody wants to go out and purchase things, so they go to Amazon or something like that and buy their stuff. The data of the delivery organization can be stolen, and because the delivery organizations like these courier companies will have huge data of the people's physical addresses. If that data is stolen, then these physical addresses will be given to wrong people, or things like that. So I think this is a simple example. The examples can be very, very complicated, but nonetheless, the point is that the data security is also a very emerging and very important field, where new methods of securing your data are being used. Now, quantum computer is one of the method of securing your data, because quantum based security is the next level security which cannot be hacked into. And that is why to improve the security, Web 3.0 is being talked about, which is based on blockchain technology. So a lot of these things are happening, and because of these changes in our business, in our society, we are now giving a lot of emphasis on the data right now. And because of these investments that companies are making in terms of maintaining data, the cost of data management is added to your top line and bottom line. And if you do a analysis of your balance sheet, you would know that you're actually spending a lot of money in data management, data security, data analytics, data collection, etc. And then decision making systems that you have deployed, prediction and forecasting system that you have deployed. Everything costs money, and that is why the quality of data will determine the cost of that data. That will help you drive revenue for your company, and that is why the quality data is going to be more expensive than the oil which drives today's economy, global economy. So friends, do let me know what you think about this. I think a lot of people may be excited about talking about these things. So if you want to add any comment or any suggestion, feel free to send in your comments. And as always, thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next edition of Morning Brew.